It's fair use, nigga. Fair use.
What's up, you pack of delicious cunts? In the last video, Riley Dennis was attempting to pull the wool over our eyes, claiming that Black Lives Matter was a peaceful organization.
But the Black Lives Matter movement has always been nonviolent and has always called for an end to violence.
Micah Xavier Johnson, rest in peace.
So we decided it was too much silliness for just one video, so this is the continuation.
And in regards to anti-fascists, they're harder to pin down because they're not an organization with leaders like Black Lives Matter.
You are fake news.
But I will say this, violence against fascists is not the same as violence used by fascists.
You know what? I don't repeat myself to my girls. Here it is, now the third time. Violence is violence, still against the law, and is still very wrong.
Anti-fascism is not fascism.
Riley, when you actively vilify people you disagree with and do everything in your power to silence them up to and including violence, yeah, I would call that fascism. Gah! It's like every few seconds you make a statement so brazenly false I can't not address it. Well, let's see how long I can let myself go.
The thing is, we can all agree that not all violence is equal.
Like, I didn't put any jumps in there. That was literally 3 seconds. Riley, if you're talking about people who have different socio-political opinions than you, then yeah, I can totally disagree with that statement, so your logic is flawed.
That's why we have laws that allow for self-defense.
Yes, we have laws for self-defense, but that means if somebody is trying to physically attack you or try to do you harm. Not with words, you dumb shit. Sticks and stones, you moron.
If someone tries to kill you and the only way you can protect yourself is to be violent towards them, you have every right to do so.
See? If someone's trying to kill you, you contradicting piece of shit. God, I want to rip my ears off.
Now that's easy to see in an individual scenario. If someone pulls a gun on you, you can feel justified fighting back. But on a large-scale societal level, that violence against you can be as simple as calling for your eradication.
If you're talking about someone inciting a mob, like this little twat,
take that shit to the suburbs! Burn that shit down! Y'all wanna hurt somebody, take that shit farther out! Ain't no calm no crowd down. Calm the crowd. Y'all think we gonna get reckless out here, it's gonna get way worse. Until we get justice, until motherfuckers start feeling where we coming from, it's gonna hit everywhere. Fuck them buildings. I hope them motherfuckers burn down tonight. If anything gonna go, let them go.
even here, you still can't take the law into your own hands and attack this nappy-headed hairball. I mean, she needs her weave.
The marketplace of ideas has already proven that it can fail spectacularly. If you let people preach their genocidal bullshit as if it's normal and acceptable, they will grow.
Yes, Riley, we can only think what you and your infinite gender studies wisdom want us to think, so start punching people in the face if you don't like what they believe.
And I'll punch back in self-defense.
The people of Nazi Germany who let the Holocaust happen were not inherently more bigoted than any Americans are today. They were just swayed by convincing rhetoric. People today still have the ability to be swayed by fascist rhetoric, and that leads to mass violence.
People can be swayed either way, just like Riley was swayed to Antifa.
So in terms of large-scale societal violence, fighting fascism is self-defense.
So you're arguing it's legal to punch a white supremacist unprovoked because you're defending yourself? Riley, you've been in that regressive liberal college bubble far too long.
It is violence, but it is violence meant to protect marginalized people.
Oh, so it's just okay for you and your pack of fragile snowflakes to attack people unprovoked. No, it's still illegal, Riley.
Can I rip my ears and gouge my eyes out now? This is shit. This is literal bullshit.
Committing violence against someone because they are black or Jewish or Muslim or Mexican or trans or gay or whatever, that is unacceptable and prejudiced. But committing violence against someone to stop them from committing violence against a marginalized group, that's justified. For another individual example, let's say a man was beating his wife every day for years. One day she hits back and she tries to run away, but he calls the police. So the police arrive and he says, "Look, she hit me. She committed violence against me too. This isn't one-sided." Obviously that's fucked up and doesn't account for the scope of the violence or the reasoning behind it. He is the one in the wrong, not her.
That bore no relevance whatsoever. God, you're so hopelessly retarded.
On a societal level, we have to be aware of that as well. You'd have to be willfully ignorant to believe that Nazi rhetoric does not lead to nor incite violence in any way.
Does anyone feel incited from that Nazi rhetoric right there? No. So it doesn't always lead to violence. Sorry, Riley, you still don't get to punch Nazis.
Now, violence against fascists and Nazis might be illegal, but what's legal is not always what's right.
What?
He said what's legal isn't always right. Na Riley man.
There is such a thing as good trouble.
Nope, no such thing. Every time I got in trouble, it was bad, not good. Unless she's being a brat to get into trouble.
Activists have a long history of breaking the law to do what is right, and it's hard to argue that stopping fascism in its tracks is not the right thing to do.
Okay, so fuck the law, we just do whatever we want. If you want to maintain any sense of consistency at this point, you now have to concede that it's okay for me to punch you in the face whenever you say something that I don't like.
I don't like anything he says. Can we send your chipmunks to go punch him?
Well, I don't want to know what Bruce would do if he ever got a hold of him. And, well, Alistair, he's a huge fan.
Hell yeah! Fascist Nazi scum! Fuck what the law says! Go on Minority Report on these fascist Nazis. Ah! Yeah, you done fucked up now, boy. Fascists gonna ruin that ass.
Hey! We're trying to record over here. Take that shit to the soundproof room.
Oh yeah, let's go, little buddy. No! Help!
Plus, there's an argument to be made that what the Nazis in Charlottesville were doing was not protected by the First Amendment. In 1942, in Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire, the Supreme Court ruled that fighting words are not protected under the First Amendment.
Looks like we're back to caring about the law. Well, because it's a law doesn't make it constitutional. Actually, laws get struck down by the Supreme Court all the time. Some still get upheld despite being unconstitutional. Case in point, Obamacare. As is usually the case when libtards try to cite history to back up their feels. There's a lot more to this story, so I'll leave a link in the description.
Name-calling doesn't always indicate fighting words. Sometimes they are only used to get your feelings hurt or humiliation. Where does homophobic come into all this?
And I think you can make a strong case that Nazi slogans and homophobic and racist slurs are fighting words.
From the Midwest to the South, punch a Nazi in the mouth. You fucking white piece of shit.
Inbred piece of shit!
Pigs in the blanket, fry like bacon.
Please, Allah, give me strength not to cuss/kill these men and white folks.
Huh? What? Oh no, do go on, Riley.
And on top of that, it's evident that those Nazis were not there to peacefully protest anything. They were carrying shields and guns and torches and wearing helmets. There's nothing peaceful about that.
Have you thought that maybe they were prepared to defend themselves? Because when Antifa and BLM counter-protesters, they almost, not always, but almost always get violent.
They were ready for a fight and they were happy to incite one.
Oh my goodness, you're a stupid child. Yes, Riley, I guess their very presence was enough to incite a full-on riot. Antifa didn't do nothing. The echo chamber you live in rivals that of Steve Shives.
By saying that there was violence on many sides or that anti-Nazi violence is the same as Nazi violence,
But it is the same. It is still hatred. Grow a damn brain and stop being a sheep.
you're just making excuses for Nazis.
No one is making excuses for anyone but people like you. Both sides were and are stupid in my book.
The difference is that you and that little SJW snow globe you call a noggin have decided any violence against white nationalist protesters, whether or not they were being violent, is totally justified.
We haven't seen the last of these white supremacists. They will be back and they will try to deflect blame onto the people who oppose them.
And BLM will reflect blame on all whites. Makes me glad I'm a wolf.
Don't fall for it. Small pockets of anti-fascist violence
Stand down!
Oh, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you. You have a mask on.
Oh shit, he's bleeding.
Holding an American flag, and a protester comes to her, drags her along there, pulls her anyway. Let's watch this.
No. That camera wasn't there, I'd be knocking your ass the fuck out.
Oh, you dumb faggot-ass tranny trap. Small pockets of violence? This is literally everywhere Antifa goes. All they ever do is attack people they disagree with and wreck cities. Every time it happens. Just how fucking oblivious and stupid are you?
Are in no way comparable to an ideology that promotes the eradication of entire groups of people. To draw an equivalence between them is lazy and irrational.
No, it's called doing research, you stupid cross-dressing hypocrite.
But really, nobody should be surprised by any of this. Our country is built on white supremacy.
Then leave if you hate this country so much. We don't want you here. Go back to Cuckland with Fiona.
I don't see you giving up your stuff for reparations.
These people have always been here. They may feel emboldened by Trump and they're willing to march without their hoods now, but they've always been here.
Anti-masking laws, or anti-mask, refers to legislative or panel initiatives that seek to stop individuals from concealing their faces, who do so often to go unidentified during a crime. In many U.S. states and the District of Columbia, there are anti-mask laws. That's why the KKK does not wear masks. Shouldn't Antifa follow the same example?
This is not a new movement, and it's not an isolated movement. It's supported by everyone who makes excuses for it and defends it, like Donald Trump.
I don't remember Donald Trump ever supporting the KKK. And in fact, I'm a lot older than you.
I do remember a Hillary Clinton supporter shooting up a softball game full of Republicans. Is that supposed to say something of Hillary Clinton?
It's not enough to just not hate people of color. That is the bare minimum.
But it's okay to hate people of no color. Hate yourself, Riley. You're not colored enough. Go and hate your white privileged bitch boy self.
We need to confront these ideas head on. We have to denounce white nationalism. We have to call out our racist relatives. We have to work to dismantle the systems of white supremacy that have always existed and continue to exist in this country.
Riley, you are potentially the dumbest person to ever grace my computer screen. You act like this is the only country that has ever had a problem with racism, and the racism of centuries ago still exists today, apparently.
Shoot. You must be a special kind of stupefied person to believe that.
These people do not exist in some bubble. They have wives and friends and families and jobs.
And so do we. And I am keeping what's mine. Even my girls.
There is no merit to what they advocate. There is no middle ground between genocide and not genocide.
No, there isn't, but we can make one.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
You or I can hate what people say all day and all night. But you don't get the right to shut down someone's speech just because you don't like it.
If you're white, I know that it's easy to look away and write them off as a fringe group to say that white supremacy starts and ends with them. That's not true. It's baked into the fabric of our society, and we have to do everything in our power to undo that.
I now know why there's not a lot of reaction videos for this one. The amount of stupid in this video will give you Ebola. I'm gonna die soon.
We have to support grassroots activist organizations led by people of color, and we have to elect more people of color into political office.
Because black people have magical powers that can fix everything.
We have to do better.
Better than magical black people? That's a bit of a stretch, but I'll give it a try.
Silencing rhetoric that advocates for violence against marginalized people is not suppressing free speech. It's shutting down genocide before it gets out of control. We can live in a country with free speech while accepting that there are limits on that free speech.
But the reason we have the First Amendment is to protect unpopular speech. Once we decide one form of speech is too unpalatable to be tolerated, we can start infringing on all the speech we don't like, including yours, Riley. Hope you brought your snowboard, little queer, cause you're on a slippery slope. You know, Wolfie, the biggest irony here is he's doing exactly what he claims to be against, advocating violence against people he doesn't like. Using his logic, I could run up and punch that protruding Adam's apple into his throat so he looks slightly more like a lady. I'd never actually do that, but it's a nice thought. Also, some more Riley Dennis logic. Let's say you have a group of people promoting an ideology that has led to government tyranny, mass starvation, and the death of around 100 million people. Well, that's what your precious counter-protesters and Antifa are pushing. Do we get to crush the commies?
Mission: the destruction of any and all Chinese communists.
Or let's say there's a dumb faggot tranny who gets to spout bullshit theories about transgenderism as a fact, which leads to thousands of people to become depressed with following his advice and committing suicide. Do I get to use that massive Adam's apple as my personal punching bag?
Frankly, Riley, you're not that attractive. And that voice of yours, my God, that voice. Just put a ball gag in and shut up. No one likes a hypocrite, and in my book, you have lost all respects in me calling you a her.
Well, that wraps up another Riley Dennis shit show. Aren't you glad I broke this up into 2 parts, as opposed to making you listen to Riley Dennis for a half hour? Be sure to swing by Sir Wolfie's channel. I'll leave a link in the description. I look forward to working with him in the future, and he's got a lot of interesting stories to tell, like how Magog—
Don't say his name.
Alright, how a wizard we affectionately call Magoo trapped him in the internet.
Everybody here subscribe to Mr. K. He does great work. I'd like to work with him again sometime. Maybe he can show me how to do some of the animation tricks. Well, see you next time, Cubbergation.
Speaking of something completely unrelated, since you came into my dungeon uninvited, get 'em, boys.
Oh yeah, I'm not usually into furries, but I can make an exception for a god.
What? No. Moon River!
Welcome to your initiation. By the way, Magog. Can't stop me from saying it now.
What?
Uh-oh. What's up, subs and savages? It's your kink master, Mr. K. Thanks for watching my video. If you like what you saw and heard today, I hope you'll like, comment, and or even share. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the dungeon, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for alerts, and follow me on social media. If you want to see this channel grow, consider becoming a patron or donating via PayPal. Everything linked in the description, and I'll see you next time.
First order of business when I get my powers back is no, I'm not gonna say that name here. I'm gonna smite those chipmunks with every ounce.